So apparently the framing device for the Sally Miniseries is Sally's diary. Sally has a diary? You'd think someone so cautious wouldn't want to take the risk of someone reading about personal thoughts and secrets. It's almost made up for by the fact that her diary is Nicole, as not only is it much less likely that someone would be able to find and read her personal thoughts as a result, since Nicole is always with her, but it comes off as Sally confiding in Nicole as best friends, so it's kinda sweet. Anyways, we start off with a recap of the end of a few issues ago, where Sally met Jeffrey trying to infiltrate one of Eggman's key energy substations and destroy it. The recap to me was only justified by the odd gap between this event first being shown to us and its entire story actually being released. I forgot to mention that I love the concept of Sally swimming underwater disguised with a rubber duck on the surface of the water. It's so whimsical and yet practical at the same time. It's charming. I'm confused that Sally calls Jeffrey a charming rogue in this recap. In fact, I'm confused by both of those words. She clearly didn't look charmed by him, being unnecessarily suspicious of anything. And what the hell did she mean by rogue? Why'd she think of him as a rogue when he's clearly just another one of the heroes? Not to mention his past history is again the opposite of rogue, being a former member of King Acorn's Secret Service, which I presume fought against rogues. So I wonder why Sally's so trusting of Jeffrey in this miniseries, but I'm more confused if she was ever suspicious of him at all. He's not a robot, so why would he be allied with Eggman? Especially since he's actively fighting against him. I see no reason for any suspicion there. But I guess that's Sally's second most major flaw. Her caution can lead to outright paranoia, which is interesting. We start off the story finally with Sally and Jeffrey dodging lasers from SWAT bots, taking advantage of their unnatural environment to use as shields from the attacks. At least Jeffrey's accent makes him a little more interesting as a character, but he's still just stating the obvious. Of course SWAT bots aren't friendly. Again, he just looks like a dolt there. Sally uses the slingshot and mud she conveniently kept with her in her vest pocket to blind the SWAT bots for the second time in the comic, showing practicality and resourcefulness that can let her handle SWAT bots even though she can't attack them physically. She sure was able to hold a lot of mud in her vest though. She asks Jeffrey if he can pick up the pace a little, and he says that he's all out of bolts. Sally complains about his morality from saying he uses bolts. What are bolts in the first place though? Bullets, I'm guessing? And why does Sally care? They're only fighting mindless robots anyways. Why would it reflect badly on Jeffrey's morality to use guns against them? Sally's self-righteous side seems to be showing up again. This is the other part of her that I hate. But the fact that it's shown up so rarely before is a big part of why I've been liking her a lot more than I expected from her infamy so far. Jeffrey answers that he basically goes where the wind takes him, makes decisions on a whim, if I'm interpreting his expression right. So his excuse for using the bolts is that he's like Sonic, who doesn't use bolts. So that's not a good explanation. I'm impressed. Sally actually notices that he's reminding her of someone she knows. I'm not sure she's supposed to be knowing who that is yet. Sally said that fortunately she came prepared, and throws a white ball in front of a SWAT bot which explodes. Hey, wait a minute! She's morally opposed to bolts, but she's not above using grenades? What kind of logic is that? I didn't call her a hypocrite earlier, just self-righteous, but I take it back, she's a hypocrite too. The two of them leave Robotropolis for the Force as Jeffrey compliments her, and Sally characteristically tells them to save the compliments for later as it's not the right time. I like that. She's serious. So Jeffrey takes her to his group of freedom fighters, I assume, which includes a duck, two Mobians I can't identify the supposed species of, and a pig. I hate this guy already for some reason. Right now at least, I don't care one bit about these characters and probably won't ever remember their names. They comment on how Sally's taking some time to get there. Wait, they already know she's coming? That's creepy. How? The pig wonders if she ran into something she can't handle. The green guy wishes he could have gone with her after saying there's nothing she can't handle. And the others express faith in her being a trained professional, whatever that's supposed to mean. And one of them says that they're all just trainees. I don't see how they're any less or more amateurs at fighting Robotniks than freedom fighters are. Even if they are really new, what makes them not trained professionals? All of them are just a bunch of ragtag teenagers or like preteens or whatever, fighting against Eggman anyways. What's professional about that? Then the duck complains that they can't be learning anything from just watching and waiting. They need to actually do stuff. So is this a common recurring problem for them? The red guy tells one of them, Penelope, that patience is a virtue and that following orders is the most important thing for a would-be freedom fighter to learn. Basically, really valuing obedience. Mindless obedience. I'm really confused from this. Sally's earlier meeting with Jeffrey not recognizing her and her not being aware that other rebel groups existed, directly contradicts this, where these rebels act like they've known about and had faith in Sally for a long time, and already have this ongoing problem with not getting to actually do stuff because it's too dangerous for them. There's a loud sound that worries these guys and makes me wonder if they're about to go out in the woods to look for Sally and try to help, only for it to be revealed that the sound was Jeffrey jumping and tackling the pig from his ridiculous paranoia. Seriously, the pig's Mobian. Why wouldn't he be against Eggman? First Sally and now him? Is Jeffrey's stupid paranoia supposed to be justified by him being former leader of Secret Service agents? It's annoying. It comes out of nowhere. Oh, these guys are all with Sally. I assumed they were part of Jeffrey's group because I've never seen them before. That's a problem with a lack of proper context. Jeffrey at least shows humility by saying sorry and they just got carried away, which can make him more relatable. And for once I really side with the pig, where he threatens him rather than immediately forgiving him for the attack. I would have probably done the same thing. So Sally introduces Jeffrey to the next generation of freedom fighters. I don't like the phrase next generation there. It's like she's training literal replacements for a group of friends who are infinitely more capable and distinctive than these guys anyways. Isn't that a bit disloyal? Moreover, how does Sally have the free time to train these guys in secret? How is she juggling between being the leader of her group of friends, who she literally lives with, and these random guys? The pig says Jeffrey is just playing a hero act. Again, what's with the comic trying to get us suspicious of Jeffrey? He may do something really worthy of hatred a lot later in the comic, but that's much later down the road, so they can't possibly be foreshadowing to that. For now, the suspicion just comes out of nowhere, although with the pig it's at least justified, as he's still sour about being tackled by him. And Jeffrey trollishly says he doesn't care that the pig doesn't trust him. Sally is with these guys out in the woods and explains that Rotor had theorized that by knocking out certain energy substations, the defense system that protects Robotropolis against ground attacks would collapse. That makes sense. She draws in the sand with a stick to illustrate her point, while saying that having split the freedom fighters' forces into several teams, it's this team's duty to shut down these 3 stations here, and since the first one's already destroyed, now they're proceeding to destroy the next 2 of them. The pig asks why Jeffrey's coming with him. He's still on this? I'm finding this really tedious already. Just drop it already. It's like the comic wants us to be just as annoyed with Jeffrey as he is, because his presence is only causing the pig to complain about it. Sally justifies that because of his past job, he knows how to get in and out of tight spots. Not sure how she knows that, but whatever. Sally tells the pig to watch Jeffrey to learn from him, and Jeffrey teases him confidently that he should do exactly that. Spoiler alert, Jeffrey doesn't do anything worth learning from, but whatever. And the plan starts. After dodging some explosions that they weren't expecting because the energy station had no guards apparently, they rush ahead in a hurry. Sally throws another white grenade into a window, and she orders... Wait, why was the window open in the first place? And she orders to cover for her while she cracks the lock on an access panel. We skip past her doing that, so I don't have to really feel like it's a Deus Ex Machina again, and cut straight to her walking around the next room with the remains of SWAT bots around her, and feeds a virus into the security system to cause a self-destruct mechanism. See, this is the kind of hacking from Nicole that I want to see. This is the kind of technology manipulation with her that makes sense. I like this. And I can easily believe Nicole was able to manufacture the virus herself. So for once, this doesn't feel cheap. So this doesn't feel like she's just waving a magic wand and stuff is happening. Suddenly, Jeffrey hears a thump sound and warns her about it. And Sally and the others immediately have to run away from laser-shooting robots that tower above them, who I guess were summoned automatically after a distress signal was sent from the explosion of the SWAT bots by Sally, which we never could see. Sally runs out of grenades at the most inconvenient of times, The tension is solved when Sally pulls a wire with the plug at the end out of her wall and spins it around her like a whip as an improvised weapon, saying she's taking a page out of his book by improvising. She spins the wire around the leg of the giant robot to prevent it from moving forwards. That's pretty creative of her. Then after Jeffrey saves the pig while being snarky about it to him, Jeffrey asks everyone how much time they have before the place will explode from Sally's self-destruct sequence, and they all run out of the building in a hurry, and take satisfaction in one of the giant robots slipping and falling and crashing down a tall chasm, with Jeffrey making a pun off it. Sally remarks on how Robotnik must have beefed up security after the last energy station destruction, which we didn't get to see, and smartly decides that they'll have to take extra precautions next time. Once again, the pig bitches about not finding Jeffrey trustworthy, and he's even more of an unlikable asshole this time because he's doing this after Jeffrey saved his life. You know, when I said I hated this character from the start, I didn't realize that he was going to prove to me he deserved that hatred within the first issue. Get over it already! At least Sally points out to him that his life was saved and he should be grateful. Which makes me like Sally for being relatable in the situation, although she's the only one in this group I really care about at all. With Jeffrey only getting my sympathy in second place because of the weird suspicion he's being given. It's like he's the guy who doesn't fit in. After Sally goes to sleep in a tent in the woods near these guys as opposed to being safely underground in Knothole, sure is convenient that no SWAT bots have passed by this part of the woods yet. Jeffrey sneaks away from them in the night, taps his pink watch. Why is it pink? Walks into a magic portal, conveniently generated by it, that leaves him in front of a glass door with a lock on it, goes into the building up the stairs, and uses the watch again to magically open the door. I hope there's a Chaos Emerald chart in there or something. And the arbitrary twist ending is that we see what looks like Sally sleeping in a pot in front of him. And the issue just ends right after that. Well, at least this woke me up. This is certainly a lot more interesting than the story was up to this point, where the plot was extremely basic and simple because it was literally just go destroy an energy station. There. It was a generic run-of-the-mill freedom fighter group destroying buildings with Eggmans and running from robots. Only worse because in the issue that was supposed to introduce these new characters, there's no establishing character moments for them. The only one with a distinct personality that makes him memorable is the pig. A complete asshole who tediously argues with Jeffrey for tackling him once, over and over again. To the point where it completely overshadows how stupidly paranoid Jeffrey was for arbitrarily tackling him in the first place. It makes the pig look like the bad guy. I guess the twist ending is supposed to be making the pig right about being suspicious that he's up to something? Like, his being suspicious was foreshadowing to this? Indirectly, though. That just makes me annoyed rather than making me want to side with the unlikable douche just because he's apparently right. Don't get me wrong, I liked the story well enough. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I was fully invested in the story the whole time. Which was my only complaint being that I hated the pig character, and the other arbitrarily secret freedom fighters had no personalities. They didn't even seem to do anything, so they're just worthless to me. Even giving each one a one-dimensional, overbearing personality trait would have been better than making them all bland and forgettable. I don't even remember their names. Aside from the pig, these guys could have been removed from the story and nothing different would have resulted from it. Sally was the one throwing the grenade and uploading the virus. No one else even needed to be there. They were good bodyguards just in case, I guess. But she didn't need them. They're only there to give Sally someone to talk to. I'd rather have this than an unbearably boring story like the very first dialogueless part of the thing that the recap was explaining about. Because Sally was being totally silent or talking to herself and being all alone for the entirety of her quests. So it's good that she has someone to talk to, at least. But another thing, a dropped plot thread for this issue is they're complaining about not getting to do anything other than watch and wait. It seems to lead nowhere. Because they didn't really do anything on this mission either, but didn't complain about it. Didn't show dissatisfaction with it. Which is the only thing that seems to be interesting about them, is that implied dissatisfaction. The writers of the story are Mike Kantarovic and Ken Penders. The two of them together again. I was fine with it, aside from the annoyingly out of nowhere cliffhanger ending. which wasn't foreshadowed directly at all, and the pig. It was an engaging adventure. I just wish Sally wasn't the only truly likable character in it.